Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
Okay, I think we're ready to roll here. Sorry there's no intro music this week. We will put it on the next show, as a lot of you are waiting for this to happen. I know I am. Good evening or good afternoon, Dale. Are you there?
Afternoon.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I can hear you too, and it looks like everything's working. Let me turn around and actually look at the camera here. Hopefully I can make this work. So what are we going to argue about today? What
Okay,
are
you name it.
What are you ready for?
What am I ready for? Everything on the list you gave me.
Oh boy. That sounds like it's going to be a fun time. I'm adjusting things here. Not hearing it. There, that's a little bit better. All right, what's the first topic? I don't have the topics in front of me because I was.
You were wanting to go back to the is God an alien thing.
Yeah, okay.
That was the big one on your list because you went into that at the end of the last show, trying to fire me up, which you did.
All right, let's go with the not if God's an alien or not. Let's take it from a different angle. We talked about last week or the last time how Christ could be an alien. Now, if you go back to the ancient hieroglyphics and that kind of stuff, you see things that were printed or drawn in these hieroglyphics and that actually show stuff that came down from above. If you want to take I'll take the devil side of it here. It could have been that there's actually two or three things that I think we could talk about here. Number one is the fact that it could be that this was all time travelers back to the time of Christ, and it could have been put on for a show. I mean, his death could have been a projected hologram. The other side of this is that we made this whole planet may be an experiment, and they took and planted that those hieroglyphics and everything into the species or whatever, and it could be that we are aliens. What do you think?
I think you're full of shit.
Let's hear some proof. You tell me I'm full of shit all the time. I mean, this is nothing new.
Unfortunately, as you know, I feel the need to. I have to get biblical about it. So if I follow my religion and I follow the Bible,
even if you go to the Bible,
is forced to.
Even if you go to the Bible, there's things in there that are that point back to some of this. You take the Sodom.
In a way,
you take the Sodom and Gomorrah thing, where it rained fire for a couple of hours and destroyed the cities, and Christ not Christ, God told them that he was punishing them for the stuff that was going on in those towns. And they can even it was discovered a couple years ago by somebody going back there and going through the solar cycle or the not the solar cycle, the star cycles and that, where this could have been an asteroid that came through here and blew up in the atmosphere and rained fire like that. You know, and yet supposedly God told them that that was because the town was so bad, that was why he made it rain fire. You know, could God have thrown that, or could an alien have thrown that at this planet? Let's hear some explanations here.
You have to look at cause and effect here. All right, just to start quick, your Merriam-Webster dictionary. If you look at the definition of what an alien is, it says coming from another world, differing in nature or character, typically to the point of incompatibility, which, sounds like God. So by definition, is God an alien? Yes, he's alien to us. But do I think that God is the little green man flying around in a spaceship in space? Absolutely not. He is in a place much higher than that. And you can get biblical on that too. I can go at you on that one all day long. He is above that. So if there is a little green man running around in a spaceship, well, he created that too. So him himself, yes, technically by definition is an alien. Is he an alien in the way that you are leaning to or wanting to describe? I still say absolutely not.
What do you think about Christ being that way?
Christ being what way?
Christ being an alien. Could Christ have come from a little green spaceship?
Well, Christ is God.
Not necessarily.
So, okay, we'll just say that, okay, let's just go here then. If Christ is the Son of God, here we have to believe in the Trinity, of course. But anyways, just to set that aside for a second, God would have made Jesus. So Jesus came from the same place God did, which is above where the little green men in the spaceships are. So now you're still, I'm saying outside that realm.
Well, if he was in that place, how did he get here?
Well, when you're God, you can go any place you want to.
Christ wasn't God. It was Christ.
No, Christ was God.
Now, the other thing, too, is even if you go to the birth of Christ, Mary was supposedly told in a dream that she was going to be pretty much inseminated, and the son, her son would not be from her husband, and which leads me, I can go off in a whole nother direction with this. These are questions that I've had my whole life, as far as, or some of these are, as far as the actual, what actually happened back in that time. Mary was supposed to be married to Joseph, and if they were, then what did Joseph think about this husband, or about this son that wasn't his? There's a whole range of stuff we could talk about here.
You can answer those questions very simply. Okay, you have to go back to your Bible once again. If you remember, now, one, yes, you talked about God coming to Mary in a dream, blah, blah, blah. And it also mentioned that the Holy Spirit would come upon her and she would become within child. So now, guess what? We've just come full circle, and we've completed that Trinity in which I was talking about.
No.
Now, then, at the same time, an angel came to Joseph and spoke with him to let him know what was going on and what was happening. And that is why he was cool with the situation.
Your lady's going to get it from a power way above what you are. I'm sorry. I digress here. You know, if you lived in that time, and I guess your beliefs in that were of that, I can see it in 2 or 3 different directions as far as the immaculate conception and all that. You know, they were. I don't know. I just got to take and say that, you know, this could be the whole thing. All of original religion basically could be alien related and alien generated. What do you got to say about that? Defend this. Come on.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now, when you start, you talking your different things, these questions and these ideas that you come up with, they could be somewhat feasible. But now you get into, with me, you're getting into the situation of faith. And I have all these different things in front of me. It's like, well, yeah, that could have happened. And yeah, that could have happened. And yeah, this could have happened too. But my faith tells me that this is the direction that I choose to follow. Now, it's like you said, to me about, the scientists going and improving about the meteor shower at Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, did they find the pillars of salt too? And I'm pretty sure, I think I've heard before that they actually did find something along those lines at some point. All you're really doing is further telling us that the Bible is correct, but in a different way.
The Old Testament.
A lot of times, the way to try to discredit the Bible is by saying, "Well, what's in the Bible is right," but.
Well, if the Old Testament's correct, at least that's showing that part of it. I'm not so sure about the New Testament. That just kind of just off the wall thoughts here. There could be a bunch of if it actually happened like it says in the New Testament with Christ and that, starting from the conception out, he lived 33 years, something
36.
Like that. 36. And
I believe. Don't quote me.
He lived for 36 years, and there are several things that I think get misconceived by the way that went. One is the fact that he had 12 apostles, and none of them were women. The other being that, when you do that, you've created at least a Catholic religion that says women can't be priests. And with that, that being said, that could have spawned from the 12 apostles and stuff like that, but it almost, in this day and age, could be construed as something else.
Well, once you went there with the women, forgive me because I don't remember the exact reason why that is, but biblically and in the Bible, and it may have just been a sign of the times, because, if you go back to Bible times, there was no equal rights. Okay. But in the Bible, it speaks of what women can do within the church and what men are do within the church. To the point, we had a question in my own church where actually now we have, before we didn't have any deaconesses, but we have deaconesses now. So a woman can be a deacon in the church because they went through and biblically looked at it, and technically it really doesn't dive into gender, but it technically says in the Bible, and because I wasn't prepared for this part, don't have scripture to, quote at because I'm not that good. But there is a definite differentiation between what men and women do in the church. Now, mind you, I questioned this myself because I grew up going to a church where a woman was the pastor. Now, 99% of the time, her husband, a man, obviously, preached the sermon, but there were plenty of times where she preached also. So I kind of went back and forth until, I was shown Bible scripture that tells me different.
As far as women deacons and that, the Catholic Church is kind of leaning towards that a little bit, but I don't think they've changed any of it yet. Your deacons in the Catholic religion or Catholic Church can actually can do the sermons and that. They are what one would consider being a priest to the point where, except for where they've taken the vow of celibacy, and that I could see that on either side of that coin. You know what I mean?
Oh, and by the way, Justine just texted me. She must have done her due diligence while we were talking. You were correct. Christ was 33 at the time of his death.
Yeah, I thought it was 33. Thank you.
Once I thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken.
Thank you. I was right I was right for once.
You got me.
So anyway, I think that's, we haven't yet discussed what, I don't think we've discussed as far as what if this was some elaborate plot, whatever. First of all, let me ask you this. Do you believe in aliens?
Absolutely.
Do you believe there's actually aliens out there?
Yes, because it goes back to, you had mentioned, last time about, your little video, whatever, about the pyramids and this and that. Do I think that there could be people out there that are technologically better than we are? It's like we still almost to this day can't explain how the pyramids were built. And you see the hieroglyphics and the different carvings on, walls and whatnot of people coming down, basically from space. That's where we have the disagreement, because I think God is above space. So you have those, aliens coming down and, helping and teaching technology and different things like that. So yes, I see that perfectly feasible.
Okay, then that would explain a lot of what they found in some of these tombs, as far as the back of the head being, extended. I want the actual skull being elongated and stuff like that. And if that's the truth, then I wonder why you have to wonder why they're not communicating with us more. Even now, you know that they're out there. I know that they're out there. I've watched enough of these. Oh, and by the way, Secrets of or the Skywalker Secrets of the Skywalker Ranch, I think it is starting a new season come Tuesday. You see that? You ever watch that show?
Not familiar with it.
That is actually, to me, pretty much proved that there's aliens floating around out there.
Oh, I have never just questioned that, just like Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot is there. He's just, I don't know, smarter than a mother, and keeps himself pretty well hidden most of the time. Why is it not possible for another upright animal just like us? That's all we are upright animals to be out there.
Yeah,
and it's perfectly possible. So, yeah, I believe in some horse shit. I mean, I believe in aliens. You just, all you have to do is kind of look at, as you remember Donald Trump opened things up so that
he's an alien.
The stuff about aliens, and that is supposed to be more public knowledge than it was before. If you look at how many Air Force sightings there have been of strange aircraft that they don't know what the heck it is, being here, there, wherever, it's huge. So to try to discount that, absolutely not. You couldn't. I mean, you got too many average Joes just like you and me walking around going, I know what I saw.
Yeah, well, as far as I was mentioning with the Skywalker Ranch, they actually discovered that there is Skywalker Ranch is in northern Utah, and they've had studies going on of the phenomenon going on out there for quite a long time. What they think it is that the ranch actually has it may be a time tunnel or something like that in it, because a lot of these things are seem to be flocking to that area, and they've actually proved that there is something going down through into the ground that is protected by force fields and everything like that. If you ever get a chance, I think it's even on YouTube. You may want to catch an episode or two of it. Like I said, they're starting a new one here, and this is no advertisement for Skywalker Ranch or anything connected to them. I just like that particular series, and that's why I'm talking about it. Word of mouth thing. All right, let's now that we've pretty much killed the alien subject, let's move on to the other thing that we wanted to talk about a little bit more, and that was I still don't remember what you gave as a site on TikTok. Do they do away with it, or do they keep it, or what?
Well, see, here's where I'm twisted. I say because we have so many idiots in the world, ban it, and ban it along with all your other social media horseshits. But then now, as we start to get into the First Amendment,
here we go.
We start talking about freedom of speech, which is something you brought up to me, and now I have to say, well, no, you shouldn't ban it, because at the end of the day, what it is you have your terms of service agreements with everything that you sign up for. Everything. I don't care if it's a video game. I don't care if it's
but if it's
when you decided to start this Zoom meeting, you had a terms of service agreement. And guess what? I'm going to take a wild guess and say you didn't read it.
Oh, I didn't.
Absolutely. And nobody does. And don't get me wrong, I'm guilty too. Now, on certain things, I've learned that I read a little bit more. I do some skimming at least to check out certain things. But we as Americans give out all of our information every day, every time we do something, whether it be on our phones, computers, or any other piece of equipment. Now, why does the U.S. want to ban things? Or, ban TikTok? Well, they've already seen it. All the information that we're throwing out there all the time, much of it is getting fed to them in one way or another. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a minute. Now we got this Chinese company here and they can do the same thing that we're doing. And they can get the same information that we're getting. That's not a good idea. We need to get rid of them. So instead of fixing the problem, which is all of our information being fed to everybody in the damn world, we'll take this communist country that we don't trust and we'll say, well, you can keep giving it to us and you can give it to Canada and whoever else, but we're not going to let you give that information to China. Well, how does that work? Because you're just as bad as they are.
Well,
and if we're going to give it to them,
you're coming down to a deal with national security on that thing, Dale. It's not just Joe Blow going and jumping totally up and correct. Down.
Going You're totally correct. There is a national security concern.
So what do you do? Do you give away your first and third amendment or first and second amendment rights, or do you well, it
ain't your Second Amendment rights, but it's a matter of we're already doing it, and the U.S. government is taking advantage of it. Okay, now they want to say, well, we're allowed to take all your information, but nobody else can. If China is not allowed to steal my information that when I click, agreed to give to them,
how many?
Why should the U.S. government be able to take that same information?
Let's reverse this a little bit. If TikTok was an American-made or an American company, and we're collecting data from. Do you think China would let us collect that kind of data from them? You're out of your mind if you do. So how do you take and turn this around and say, oh, the American public can keep it or can do it, but turnabout's fair play in a lot of ways.
That's what I'm saying. But if
then
we're
allowed
to do it, why can't China?
What they're trying to do.
We're stupid enough to give it to them, then let them fucking have it. The problem is not in what it is. The problem is in our stupidity.
What they're trying to do with that is make it so that the Chinese have to sell the actual company to an American, so that an American can actually, or an American company can actually see and keep the data from flowing out there if it needs to be contained. In some respects of that, I actually believe, or I do actually agree with it. But okay. On the other hand, if you ban them, you're giving away some of your American rights, and I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, you're saying, okay, let's take this Chinese-owned company and sell it to an American who is going to basically give this information to the United States government, which is what we've been getting into all the time. This is a matter of government intrusion and not a matter of China versus the United States. If America can do it, China can do it too. So basically, America's going, hey, look at what we've been doing for how long. And these stupid idiots on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, they're not paying attention, and they're giving us all their information. But oh shit, oh damn, they got this new Chinese thing out. They're doing the same thing. We don't want that information to go to China. Well, no shit, you don't want that information to go to China. But if you don't want them to be allowed to do it, then there needs to be rules and things so that China can't do that. And at the same time, our own government shouldn't be doing it either. I'm saying turnabout is fair play. It's an equal playing field. It's kind of like capitalism.
The question is,
if I can do it, then you should be allowed to do it too.
The question is, how do you contain what's being allowed out and what's not? And that's the same problem that Europe and everything else has got. There is no containment of this data, and that there needs to be, just to make sure that our national security isn't at risk, or anybody else, or anybody else's in this world.
So maybe instead of what we had the beginning of the dumbing down of our society, which we've done, maybe we teach people again to read and find out what kind of information they're giving away. And if they're giving away information that they don't want given away, then you don't subscribe to that. Well, eventually, if enough people do that, they're going to have to change the way they're doing things in order to get subscribers. Because if everybody says, no, you're not giving my information away, somehow they're going to start to have to clamp that down in order to keep business. And it's kind of with your camera thing. And I'll just throw this out and then we can go back to it later. It's the same thing that happened to Ring. And it worked. But
oh, don't get me started on Ring.
It's a matter of we don't pay attention. Okay, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it. And we do it. But then we complain when somebody else does it.
What they're wanting, let's go back. Let's talk about that a minute. I've got 4 security cameras in this house. I've actually got 3 on the front of the house and 1 in the backyard. All right. If there's a crime that happens on this street, my security camera will record it. I've proved that before. I had something ripped off out of my front yard, and I got a very distinct picture of the perpetrator that did it. That's why the cameras got put in here. All right, now, the police come along and say, oh, we see you got security cameras. We would like to take and see the footage from that. And I say, well, maybe. What is this involving? And, well, there was a crime on your street, and we want to see what your camera saw. All right, that's not a problem, too much of a problem with me. But for them to actually say, all right, you have to give us that footage. It don't matter what your rights are. You have to give us that footage. That's a whole different story. Because now what they're saying is, instead of, well, we see you've paid all that money for that security stuff up there. Could we actually have a picture or have the video from this day? Not a problem. But when they're telling me you have to give me that footage from that day, that's intrusion. And that's where I draw my line. This is my flipping property. They're not going to come in here, or they're not going to take something that was recorded on my property and tell me I got to give it to them. Hell, the flipping government's trying to do that to everybody now. And to me, that's wrong. And it's the same thing with those Ring cameras. They didn't want to take and have to get a search warrant for the damn video. And that therein lies the crux of what the issue is. Yeah. What do you think about this? Would you get if you had security cameras up with and they came to you and said, "Would you we need the footage from this day. Could you take on and give it to us?" Or would you rather them say, "We want that security footage from yesterday.
So
You have to give it to us. Here's a and with even without a warrant, that's wrong."
here's my thing: without a warrant, I'm not giving them anything. But what you have to get in here, and what here once again, we're going to go back to our old friend. Your terms of service agreements. Okay. Now,
That doesn't
during my
apply to
research, I
cameras.
found here, especially with like Ring and Blink, which I own Blink, um, that where your video goes to the cloud, they will bypass you, go to Ring or Blink or whomever, and ask for video footage for whatever from a certain period of time, and Ring or Blink can, without a warrant, give them that video without notifying you prior to doing so, which I do not agree with. But unfortunately, if you're a dumbass like I was and you click the button, that's what's going to happen. Here's why several times a day, I'll go through anything that's on my camera, whether it be Justine walking through the back door or whatever it may be. I clear them off so they're out of the cloud. I don't let my stuff keep stacking up and have all this footage on there.
My
I
cameras
keep
don't
clearing
do
it
that.
out.
My cameras don't do that anyway.
Now, if it comes down to if I have these cameras for security purposes, if I see something out of the ordinary on my camera, and I am definitely questioning what's on there, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm probably going to call the police anyways and let them see it, because that's the purpose of why I have these cameras in the first place. But am I going to allow them willy-nilly? Absolutely not.
Well, that's what they're trying to make it.
Well, they're actually, what's happening, you have a lot of cities and different things now that are starting these programs where they're trying to get businesses and private citizens to give them access to their cameras. Now, there's two ways to go about that. You can either register your cameras, and basically that's saying, hey, I have cameras on my premises, and you're just letting them know you have them. And if something happens in the immediate area, and say they're trying to follow a suspect or do whatever, they can ask you politely for permission to see this stuff. And of course, you can say yes or no. But now that they know you have cameras and you might have footage, might make it a lot easier for them to get a warrant. Or you have certain people that are signing up for the 24/7. The police can gain access to their cameras 24/7 at any time they want to. So that if there's like an immediate threat in the area, they can kind of look at your cameras to see if Joe Schmo is running past your house. Now, if I had a business, I would allow this, because to me that's added security.
But when it comes down to you personally, that's a whole different story.
Right.
I agree
My
with
thing
that.
is, yeah, because what they're saying is, well, we only look at the footage during emergency situations, and some say they don't record it, and some say they will, only if they can use it to convict somebody. But once you give them 24/7 access, now you're asking yourself, okay, well, are they going to follow the rules that they just told me that they're following?
Precisely.
And in today's society and no trust of the police, then most people are, probably going to opt out of that. Like I said, I would give you permission on my business because all that's doing is helping you secure my business. But in my private home, you can kiss my tush.
Yep, but
I might want to take a pee in the backyard, and I don't want you to see it.
What they're talking about doing though is precisely that. They want to be able to access anybody's camera anywhere, and it's not our damn business. If I want them, if I see something on my cams, if I know what's happened down the street, it's up to me to give that to them, not for them to just come in there and rob me.
I hate myself right now.
Why? Because you're agreeing with me?
Because we agree.
Holy shit!
But you know what? Hey, see this. Well, you know what? This was a no-brainer. I mean, this one here is a no-brainer. You're not wanting to. Now, I know everybody's going to say, well, if you're not doing anything wrong at your house,
it's still none of your damn business. What goes on at my house? Mind your own damn house.
What if something happens and excuse me for being gross, but I want to have sex with my wife on the back porch? Okay. Do I want the police looking at that and staying around in a circle?
I don't think your wife even wants to look at it.
I mean, I'll give you what you need to complete the job in which you're trying to do, but I'm not going to give you willy-nilly over my camera system. Like I said, unless I own a business. Because now I got an alarm drop. You have access to my cameras. You can look around.
Yeah, I agree with that.
See where the people got in, see what they're doing, kind of get a feel for what's going on before you get there.
I agree with that.
Added security.
I agree with that.
Not at my house.
Heaven forbid we agree.
Oh, I might let somebody smoke a joint in my backyard. Well, now that's not a big deal, but before that would have been a big deal, and nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So
I've been up for. I was up till 3:00 this morning.
I'm up till 4.
I was up till 4:30 the morning before, and I was out of bed by 11 both days. Well, 10 today. And this is the reason that this station hasn't had any podcasts on it. We've, I had equipment issues, but we're kind of sort of back now. So anybody that's been just thirsting for these podcasts, which I know some of you are, this is why. And we'll be, we're back with this one today. We'll have Radioactive tonight, and then Eric's show probably tomorrow afternoon or evening. I apologize for anything that hasn't ran, but stuff happens. That being said, what else are we going to talk about tonight? There was a couple of things that I texted you with.
Well, you had sex on social media. We just did the cameras. And the other one would be the green movement. The big green deal.
Yep. I don't remember what was the text I sent you on that? I'm trying to I know that was a topic Eric sent me.
Oh shit, I deleted it. But it had to do with if I thought it was realistic or not realistic, but if I thought it was true or another example of how the government could control people and whatnot, was kind of the direction you went with it, at least from what I gather. Because when I got that, I tried to call you, but
the sex on the internet thing. Let's go back to that for a minute.
Okay.
All right. We were going to do 2 topics. I may actually do this on Radioactive tonight yet. We were going to cover 2 topics on. One was this 17-year-old kid that was getting it from a 45-year-old teacher out, I think it was out west somewhere. And what it was this 17-year-old hooked up with this 45-year-old teacher. The teacher got busted for playing with a school student, and her defense was that she was not working for the school because she was a subcontractor for the school. She was a substitute. Now, if you were 17 and some 49, 45 or 40-year-old chick came on to you and said, "Hey Dale, let's go park down the street here and let's go have some fun." And all of a sudden, and it's one of your school teachers who is a substitute who really doesn't. Substitutes are 1099, I believe, because they're not an actual permanent employee of a school. And she gets busted, and her defense is that. What do you think of the defense? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, it depends on, and I've wondered about this for a long time. Is there something, whether it be in their contracts or now all these people especially women, I see going to jail. Now, there are some men out there also that are, messing around with students. I'm not sure how the law works. And it's like, because I've seen people get in trouble for having sex with an 18-year-old student. Now, that student is an adult. So I don't understand why they would get in trouble. I could possibly see why you would lose your job because, well, it's, probably in your handbook or whatnot. But I'm 17 years old. I don't care if it's a substitute teacher. I don't care if it's my real teacher or anything in between. If they're attractive and I find them attractive and they say, "Here it is," here I come. And no, this to say that, that they preyed upon the young man. Bullshit.
The kid was 17 years old. He's 17 years old, and in some places that's way past the age of consent. That's the thing.
Yeah, see, that's
the thing that gets me
on
here.
What state you're in. See, Ohio used to have an age of consent. Ohio doesn't have the age of consent anymore. So it used to be 16 and 6. 16 was the age of consent, and then the other party could not be more than 6 years older than the other individual. That's gone. Now it's you're a minor. But from a boy's point of view, that is what is instilled in us, DNA wise. You're coming into adulthood, you're seeking out the other sex, and that's what you do. And if my teacher said, "Here it is," and I thought she was very attractive, shut the front door. I mean, I'm there. And am I gonna cry? "Oh my God, she took advantage of me. She raped me. Oh, she took away my childhood." Shut the fuck up. Didn't take away nothing from you. She made you the happiest man in the world.
And that, you're preaching to the choir here, Dale, in a lot of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, she made you the happiest man in the world for a whole 13 seconds.
You gotta wonder how in the hell some people come off with that kind of shit. You really have to wonder. You took away my. Well, you agreed to it. You're old enough to know better, but way too young to resist, maybe. But when it comes down to it, There's another topic that I'm going to cover here in a minute that's almost kind of mind blowing, and it's another one of those things where you think, what in the flip was this woman thinking? You know, the simple fact of it was this 17-year-old, the teacher got arrested, and for more or less playing with a school student or minor or whatever. Kid wasn't really a minor; he was 17 years old.
Yeah, it's probably a man child.
You know, you have to wonder what that woman was thinking. She knew, she had to have known that she could get herself in trouble for playing with that kid. Did she care? Probably not.
Exactly. I mean, in lies the point. I mean, and the funny thing is, lot of, especially the women that I see that are getting in trouble for messing around with these 16, 17-year-olds, sometimes 15, which still, oh, she ruined my life. No, 13 seconds was the best time you've had in your whole entire life. But
it may not have been that
they're
long.
fairly attractive, at least the ones you see. I mean, and you're trying to figure out in your head. I mean, obviously, as attractive as many of them are, there's got to be a man of your own age out there that's
that's another question. That's another question altogether. I mean, could that have could she have had somebody else older? I would think, but she's probably at least a cougar, if not turkey vulture.
Well, like I said, look at a lot of these women. I mean, and I know a lot of times you only see from, the neck up or whatnot, but they're fairly attractive women. And it's like, well, if you're that attractive, you shouldn't have a problem finding someone of your own age. Maybe it's a woman thing where they're looking for that youth and that vigor or whatever. I don't know.
And that could almost take us into the social media and OnlyFans. A lot of these women, don't matter what they look, what they think they look like. A lot of them hit that damn OnlyFans. I will say right now that I've never been on that site, nor do I ever plan on going there. But the stuff that I've heard about that site, where these women are making $10,000 and $15,000 a month off of it, just for getting on there and getting naked. And it's funny how you've got people on there, or women on there, that not only are not bad looking, but they're professionals. You have cops that have gotten busted like that. Your schools, your teachers are getting busted like that. And, it just baffles my mind that the kind of money that they make. If you want to make that kind of money, sure, do it. But don't take and do it if you're connected to a school or anything that's going to cause you grief. If you're a cop or whatever, don't do that. Cops should actually know better. They know the flipping law.
Wait a minute. But, okay, the cops know the flipping law. Okay. I'm a cop, and I decide I want to get naked on the OnlyFans. Now, I have to assume that somehow they're judging your age before they allow you that adult content. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. What I do when I'm not at work is my own business. Whether I'm a school teacher, a nurse, a doctor, a policeman.
No. That's where I'm disagreeing with you there. I'm calling BS here.
My slivovitz, then let them.
The thing of it is, in the old, in older 30, 40, 50 years ago, that may not have been an issue. But a lot of these, even with the schools, there are schools that'll kick you out of the school if you're going there, and they find something like that going on. If what it does is that if you detract from the purposes of the school, it don't matter if you're on the property or not. And on the other side of that coin, a cop, just because he's off duty, is not considered not a cop. Hell, Mr. Walter across the street here,
that one I'll have to give you.
He carries a gun.
That one I'll have to like step back on, because a lot of times police officers are considered on duty 24/7,
and that's the same way with some of the teachers.
Wicket there.
That's the way they've made some of the teachers.
But a teacher, no, a teacher goes to school and a teacher teaches. If things are being done correctly, there should be absolutely no way for her students to access what she's doing on the OnlyFans. So if she's taking a side gig and making a couple extra bucks, I don't see the
representing
problem.
the school, Dale.
Now they're probably saying,
she's still representing the school, Dale. It don't matter if a teacher's teaching or not. She's a representative of the school.
Well, then I guess I represent my job place every day.
Exactly.
And,
you do. You're representing
what I
now.
do on my own time.
If your employer
do on my own time,
if your employer decided to watch this video, and they didn't like something you said on here, do you think they'd not have words with you? I think you're wrong.
I think as far as my stuff goes, as long as I am not speaking of, like, I'll tell you, we just had an individual that got fired because she took things too far. She was reprimanded for something, got upset, and started posting on social media. And it was clearly, I'm going to assume that the name of particular business was used in the process, and she lost her job. Now, as long as most of the places I've worked, even corporate, they said basically I couldn't say anything disparaging about the company or things like that. So as long as you didn't directly call out an individual business place, you were okay.
Justify what you just told me. That justify that you're not a representative of their company if you got on social media when you were off work and said something like that.
Well, what I'm saying is,
you're still representing the company.
If I call them out by name and I say XYZ company, they can kiss my ass, they did this, and this, now I'm breaking the rules because I brought them into it. And I put them on social media in a disparaging manner.
And you know what that means, Dale? It means you're representing them.
But what I'm doing, but if I'm on social media and I say, Pat, you can kiss my ass, I don't agree with you. No, I can't be fired for that because I haven't disparaged the company. You're
fired.
I'm not like, okay, right now I have a hat on. It's not a company hat. It's not, I'm not in this situation representing the company. Now, if I'm on here, I got my work hat on that clearly states where I work and my work uniform or whatever. Now I am representing the company that I work for.
You're representing them on social media if you talk about them.
But that's what I'm saying. But I'm not So if you do, so what we're saying here, the lady getting naked on OnlyFans is not going, I'm a school teacher at so-and-so high school.
But if
Come
you're
and see me.
recognized,
She's not doing that.
If you're recognized, you're still representing their school.
Oh, no, she's not.
Yes, she is.
Well, maybe that's why teachers need to wear uniforms.
Yeah.
Because then you can discern whether they're representing the school or not.
They're wearing their birthday suit most of the time.
Well, exactly.
All right, I got one more topic I want to cover, and then we'll have to wrap this up. This actually has been a pretty fun hour. On the sex subject, there was another story that I saw that was out west somewhere. This woman decides this woman marries a guy and they're living at mom's house. And mom's a horny old lady.
Your first problem.
And mom and then sister thinks her husband is really hot. Okay, she allows them both at times to have her husband. And by having her, it's the
I'll follow you.
It's the in and out. It's the in and out thing. Then, if this wasn't bad enough, she decides that she's going to get on social media and talk about it. Oh, hang on a second. Dog's barking here. Oh, it's the blonde. Anyway, I'll sorry about the dog's barking there. Anyway, she decides to let sister have it too, or have him too. Now, wasn't no saying that sister, the given away sister, the one that's married to him, is not sitting in the background watching or even enjoying it at the same time. Whatever. That's the story doesn't really talk about that. But she went on social media and started talking about it on social media, and everybody just really come after her. Now, what do you think about this, Dale?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, would you have?
Well, first off,
what would you have told this woman if you read what she posted on social media?
Well, one, I don't know what she posted, but
she was talking about her relationship with her husband, and that mom and sister were getting him every couple of days.
Okay, well, first off, I tell her she's an idiot and she has no brains. Because first off, now as a man, let's just say for a minute, we'll use my life. Okay. I marry your daughter. Okay. But I have to move in with you. All right.
That'd be a disaster.
There's your first problem to start with. Okay, I marry your daughter and I'm going to move in with you. So we're already kind of putting the man on a bad pedestal here because he's not handling his business. Now, with that being said, you take your daughter, and your daughter says, I'm allowed to have sex with mama and her sister and everybody else, and it's cool. So now we have to stop and look at, there's something wrong with your daughter too. Okay, because first off, she shouldn't have married the guy that had to move in to your parents' house. And now she's allowing you to handle your business throughout the household. I would just tell this woman politely that she's a freaking moron. And she needs to get some serious help. because there's something else probably going on there somewhere that makes her, for some reason, think that this is okay. So that's where, I kind of start to question, was there some abuse in the past or something crazy going on?
Well, her need to take that to social media is what is the part that I would question.
Because
why do you have
what
to bring
people
that?
do.
Why do you have to bring that on here?
You have so many people that blast every aspect of their life on social media that it's just not funny. I have a guy I went to school with. Now, mind you, he's not putting his personal life out there, but I couldn't believe how many posts that he has every day. He'll show you look like he eating a McDonald's ice cream cone, and you got to take a picture of that. And then he's drinking a beer and having some food at the local restaurant. Got to take a picture of that. And then we got a guy at work, his girlfriend. She's got to post everything. I'm surprised that she don't take pictures of herself on the toilet. Just to say, hey, look what I'm doing. Because it's every move. Boyfriend pisses her off, got to post something. This happens, got to post something. This happens, got to post something.
What the hell has happened to society that
this
is shit's got to go down like this?
Society has gone to shit. And once again, my other old friend comes back down to the dumbing down of society. You have to remember that there are a few of us that we know life before electronics, well, not electronics, but before computers and before social media. And we knew how to live without those things. We could do other things. We occupied our time. We did what we did. And then you have these new generations coming out that this is all they know. So, oh my God, if I don't get enough likes, then I'm going to lose friends. And this is what they think they have to do. And they have to put all their information out there for a bunch of people that don't want to see it. I could care less.
As far as I'm concerned, any family drama I have here doesn't come anywhere close to that damn Facebook or anywhere else.
Well, you come from that time where there were no computers, there were no, your idea of electronics, was like a Atari 2600 that didn't do shit. I had one too, and you live life before social media. But these people coming up now, and you're running into a lot of individuals that are from our times that have gotten so sucked into that social media that they're doing exactly what the kids are doing and posting every single thing that they do because they think that everybody wants to know. I don't give a shit. I don't care that you just went down to the local McDonald's and got a sandwich. I could give a fuck. I don't need to see you posting.
You have to admit that if you saw this woman posted, well, I watched my husband go down on my sister here a little bit ago, and it was flipping awesome. And she described, I know that'd catch your damn attention. Don't you give me a bullshit, boy.
Well, would it catch my attention?
Yeah.
I go to Facebook and I do a little scrolling. Okay, once in a while.
And I used to scroll. Let's take this another direction. Let's take and this woman decides that she's going to film this thing and throw a post on and throw a reel on Facebook, and all of a sudden that pops up on you. You've told me you watch that shit before. You ain't.
Oh, absolutely.
And you'd probably watch that.
But here's my
what
point.
A lucky guy.
Would I watch it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're going to send me a video of a naked lady, I'm a man. I'm going to watch it.
I agree.
My problem is not with that. My problem is with the woman that is like, hey, I'm going to let my husband have sex with my mother or my sister and film it. Okay, so who's the bad apple in the room? Okay, there is something wrong with the young lady that is doing this, not to mention the fact of the man that ain't man enough to not have to move into his mother-in-law's house. I can understand if their house burned down and they had no place to go till their house was rebuilt and they were staying with mom. Okay. But the fact that the woman is allowing this and filming it makes her look like a sick bitch.
Yep, I agree. Well, let's wrap this up for today. It's been a lot of fun. We'll have to. I think there is one other topic that we didn't cover, and that was that the green thing. I'll have to get a little better description from as to what needs to be done there, or what the topic was there. Hopefully next week I'll have some videos we can pop in here and there and take a gander at for subjects. I'm going to try now that this computer's back up. I'm going to be able to.
I got to pee real quick.
Have the time.
Good.
All right. So anyway, we will go ahead and wrap this up for today. Thanks anybody and everybody for tuning in. Don't forget Radioactive tonight at 7:30, and we will see you all next week. Or actually in 2 weeks. We're doing this every other week, so we'll see you then.